Okay. Yes. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's special edition of Researchers in the Spotlight. This event is organized by the IAU Junior Members Working Group in celebration of the International Day of Women and Girls in Science. I'm Susmita, a postdoc at IUCAA and the co-chair of the IAU Junior Members Working Group. And today we are delighted to be joined by three outstanding scientists from IUCAA, Professor Debarati Chatterjee, Professor Chandreyee Maitra, and Professor Rajeshwari Dutta. Of course, the three of them have held excellent academic track records throughout, which has led them to hold these very prestigious positions at IUCAA, which is one of the premier institutes in the country. We will, of course, listen to their entire journey. So first, of course, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure. And today we will be hearing about their scientific journeys, their defining moments, and their perspectives on how to make it a more inclusive scientific community. Okay, so let's get started. So let's start at the very beginning. Would you tell us a bit about your childhood and what inspired you to take up astrophysics as your careers? Was there any particular moment in your life or any particular mentor who may have influenced you to take this? Yes.
Yeah, maybe I can go. So, for me, it sounds a bit bookish, but it's really true that, from my childhood, my dad, I think he was in general interested in astronomy, but never got the opportunity. So, he got me a lot of like children books on stars and cosmos, but even difficult ones like Cosmos from Carl Sagan or Professor Naliker's like books. And I just looked at them and I liked the pictures or just the concept of, cosmos, and it's so vast. This he really put into me this concept of the vast universe, infinite universe, and I was very fascinated by it. And then I deviated a bit because I did my engineering. I did not deviate, but I did not go the conventional path of doing bachelor's and master's in physics. But then, when I was in the third year of my engineering, I got this opportunity to do a 3 month visiting program at NCRA, which is our neighbor. So that's how I landed here. That was my first in real interaction with astronomers. So I remember I had courses here for the VSRP and IUCAA, a 2 week program, but it was Professor Dadhish, Professor Narlikar, all the stalwarts were like teaching us, and I was so awestruck. And I think after that, it really motivated me and propelled me to take this up as a career. So after my BTech, I actually then joined the joint astronomy program and did my PhD in astronomy. So I think this place is also where I kind of started my journey. So I'm really grateful to be here.
So I have a lot of follow-up questions, but later if we have time.
Yeah, sure. I think, I think home environment does play a very strong role. Also, my dad was an engineer, so he, always used to introduce me to books and documentaries about science, visiting science museums together, which plays a, important role to motivate young children. And I grew up in a place which was outside Kolkata, so we had there was no light pollution or starry sky. And I remember with my mom, we used to spend evenings at the terrace watching meteor showers and comets and stuff. So of course this motivated me. But like when I was in college, I was like wondering because I did take up physics, and I was wondering whether it would be interesting to take up genetics later or astrophysics. I was still contemplating when I got an opportunity to do a summer fellowship. So I got a summer fellowship to attend a program at the Indian Institute of Astrophysics. And this was in solar physics, which I did not pursue. But I totally fell in love with the academic environment. We used to hang out we used to play games till 3 a.m. at night. And I had a chance to, for the first time, to go to the Venu Bapu Observatory and see a telescope for myself. And, this entire experience of like flexible timing and being able to, I was a college student and had all the freedom and money to travel. So I think this was like, okay, this is what I want to do. So it was that moment, I think, when I decided this is what I want to pursue.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, for me also, I think a defining thing would be science fiction books in my childhood, which really attracted me towards this field. So reading Asimov, reading Arthur C. Clarke, all the science fiction books that were available in my library. And then we are watching movies like Contact.
Oh, God,
Yeah. Yes, yeah. I also read the book by Carl Sagan. And so I was living mostly in the city, so I did not have the opportunity to look at, the clear night sky. But whenever we would go for vacation and had a chance to look at like the stars shining, that was really again inspiring. And I remember a specific moment, like if you said your like both of your dads inspired you, right? I think again this concept was introduced to me by my dad, which I found mind blowing at that time. That when we are looking at stars, say the light also is traveling not only through space but also through time. So when we're looking in the sky, we're not only looking through space but also looking back in time. And I was, I think, probably a teenager or in school at that time. So I found this concept fascinating. That we may be looking at a star which has died in the past. So like little moments like this really made me fascinated with this field. So I knew that I wanted to do physics after my high school. I mean, I was interested towards astronomy. I had not made specific plans, but I uh, selected Pune and Ferguson College where I did my bachelor's because I saw that they have some courses in astronomy even at BSc level at that time. And at that time, actually, I was not aware that much about IUCAA and all the other astronomy institutes. It's only after I came to Pune, did my BSc, and then later did my MSc in Pune University, where there are courses taught by IUCAA faculty, some special astronomy courses. I became more interested in the technical aspects, and that's when I knew that I wanted to pursue PhD in astronomy. So yeah, I think it also started, like you said, for you with a VSRP, started with me with a vacation students program of IUCAA in Pune. That was my first exposure to like research in astronomy in my MSc, and then I decided to do PhD here.
Thank you so much. So the way we summarize, I think, from this particular thing is that childhood influence plays a very big role. You have been like we have all been very fortunate,
Right.
but we also need to extend the public outreach to the young school children, for example, who might not have the privilege, right?
Right.
Because the first influence during childhood plays a very strong role towards children picking up STEM in the future. Like not be scared of STEM.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very nice. And then of
And
course
also
it's like
educate, I guess, the parents, right, to
yes.
uh, make their kids aware about this, take them to like all these events if there are in the cities.
Yes. Yeah. Very good point. Yes. So now, of course, like I mentioned, you all hold very prestigious positions at IUCAA, one of the topmost institutes for astrophysics in the country. So looking back, how easy or difficult were your journeys, right? Or other way around, what was the role of the different grants, fellowships, and international mobility that you had along the way? And what advice would you have for early career researchers who might want to follow a similar journey?
You want to take it?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, I think, yeah, the academic experience definitely plays a vital role in this. And like I said, so my first experience was getting, a summer fellowship and being introduced to the field of astronomy as such. I did my PhD in India, but also the first exposure I got internationally was when I won the DAD award. And the DAD fellowship allowed me to present my research, and I was just like beginning my PhD. So this was really path-breaking because for the first time I was, exchanging ideas with international researchers, and this broadened my horizons. It motivated me and also pushed my ambitions harder. That okay, I have to stand on an international level. And so this, I mean, I continued to collaborate with many countries during the course of my PhD, and then I
like you said, fellowship. So I won the prestigious Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship, which allowed me to pursue my postdoctoral research in Germany. And then and there, of course, I also learned, a lot of, research and exposure to many fields outside my exact expertise. And then I moved to France, where also not only did I get like PhD postdoctoral awards like the CNRS one and the CNRS postdoctoral position, but also this introduced me. I had the opportunity to explore, first of all the languages, because I had to learn German and French and other languages, which opened up my horizon and also permitted me to see a different point of view of things, which you are confined to if you're only exposed to one particular culture. And I started to, of course, personally also, I started to grow because I enrolled into science communication programs. I became more outgoing and I started to, do vulgarization of science, what we say, like science communication and outreach. And this, of course, I continue to the day. So I think this was a vital point in my career. And another thing is that mobility also allowed me not only to broaden my academic horizons, but also personally to become more and more independent, which is also plays, an important role in research myself. So what I also advise to early career researchers is that, of course, other than your academic horizons, it is very important to be noticed. And this happens when you collaborate with different groups, you present in different places and make yourself visible, make your research visible, make broaden your contacts and expand your collaborations and academic your contacts, because otherwise, if you may be pretty much successful even if you're working within a small research group. This of course depends on your own research, but I think it relies on less people, or it does not rely on particular mentors or particular people to support you if you are, on a broader horizon. So I think it's very important for early career researchers to have some mobility. I know that a lot of people are also confined to their, for different personal reasons, that they cannot move as freely as I was privileged to. But I think it is very important to have this once in your career so that you can broaden your horizon. So I think that's my take on this. 100% agree. Yes.
I broadly actually agree with Debarati because we have kind of similar paths. We've moved to similar countries. I've also lived in France and Germany for the last
in the opposite order.
In the opposite order, because I
did
France
as well,
Yeah.
both places.
Yeah, that was also nice. So I was first as a CNRS, like postdoctoral fellow, and then I moved to the Max Planck Institute, where I was a postdoc for the first 3 years, and then I moved on to be a staff scientist for the Eurosita mission. So I would say, in my perspective, so in my PhD, I was doing a lot of data analysis, so exploiting the data, from the X-ray wavelength to look into these dead stars like compact objects, and I was deep into it, looked into it at many aspects. But I think what really broadened my horizon was when I got into the details of how these data are made, and or how are these instruments operating, that make this data or that get this data from the sky. So I think the last 6 years or 7 years of my life, where I have probed deep into the how these big space missions are operated, and how do you actually calibrate the data for people to be able to use them in the way, right? And just write like very interesting papers. I think that gave me an exposure that I was very privileged, because I really interacted with the top class engineers, the mission PIs, who really like gave me this lesson that you cannot trust any data or any model blindly. You have to really go deep into it and be able to model first. The intricacies of it to be able to extract science out of it. So I think I've also been very privileged that I've traveled around and gained that exposure, which hopefully I can or I have been able to bring back and give back here. But I would also say to the young people, like, please broaden your horizon. Like, when you look at a project, look at it from all aspects, like not only the science, but how this data is made, and also how the instrument that made it operates, so that you get a full view of it.
So here I would like to say you have been privileged, but actually it was all of your hard work that really got you in that
Absolutely.
position, right? So it's
That's privileged to be able to be
Yes,
in the
yes.
right
Yeah.
place at the right time that I got that opportunity.
Yes.
Of course,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you have to grab it because, as Debarati very rightly said, you have to make yourself visible. I mean, because I have worked in a large collaboration, so I know in a large collaboration when you are a young postdoc, it's very very easy that your contribution is not fully accounted for, right? I mean, you have to make visible and you have to be vocal about your contribution because it's not obvious here. Sometimes we think because we have worked very hard, it's obvious that people noticed it. So I think we should also educate the younger generation more about scientific ethics, work ethics, I mean, science ethics in general, to also know what is your right. Right. So
and don't be shy to speak up.
Yeah. So that's a part of it. That if you think you have contributed to something, don't be shy to speak up and be vocal. Because at least I mean, I was not like that before, so I have learned the hard way. So yeah, really give this advice.
Yes. And also, every single stage brought about a whole new skill set, right? Along with interacting with different kinds of people. Yes.
Oh yeah, I agree with both of them. The travel is important both for your like scientific career perspective as well as for your personal growth. And I have had, I think, very similar trajectories as both of you because I also did my PhD from here in IUCAA. IUCAA is again, I feel like I was going to say I was privileged to be here at IUCAA, but yeah, where you get the opportunities to interact with because we have visitors, international visitors, also visitors from all over India. So you get a lot of opportunities. You get exposure to what is happening currently in your field. But we also get the opportunity, we have funding to go at least attend one or two international conferences, which is, I think, very important in the early career stage, PhD stage itself. And so I went after my PhD to Germany on a Humboldt fellowship, and I was in Europe for like 5, 6 years. Germany, but not France. I skipped France and went to UK, and then came back to Italy. But yeah, I realized that being in Europe, and maybe also people who are in America, you you need a lot of contacts and exposure. You need to really, it's not just enough to do good work. You need to really also well, not advertise, but make people aware of your work.
Yes. Yeah,
Because
that's a good way to say it.
So I mean, which is a very good thing. There's a lot of people now in astronomy, a lot of new work getting done. But so you also need to make efforts to make your work stand out. Um, so if you're in India, I would really encourage people to look for opportunities to go and attend conferences internationally, make your work known. It's particularly important, I found, for the job application process for postdoc applications. Um, Being in India, you don't get that much opportunity, but I know that it's sort of a ritual abroad. Like after you submit or when you're applying for jobs, you go on a tour. You go on a tour to all the places where you're interested in or where you're applying, and you go and give a talk at those places. You talk with the people there, make them aware of your work. Unfortunately, India, it's not always, you don't have the funding to do that, but at least look for opportunities to go and attend conferences where you can meet a lot of people at once in your field. So that I think is important. Mm. It does matter for yes, and also feel like she said, like feel free to reach out to people. Like I did my first postdoc was a Humboldt fellowship, which requires you to have a mentor in Germany. So when I was applying for that, I did not have any collaborators at that time in Germany. So I reached out to people in my field who I didn't know actually, but I just knew them through their work, and I reached out to them saying that I want to apply for this. And a couple of them wrote back to me, and then finally I went and joined and worked with one person. So I think feel free to explore opportunities like that.
Yeah, that's a very important point. Often we are hesitant to reach out if we don't know that person personally. But I think, I mean, in an inclusive environment, I mean, most people are very happy to give opportunities or invite you in their department. So you have to take the initiative.
Yeah.
And especially for the Indian audience, I think we have the ANRF International Travel Support, right? So if we make use of that to present a talk at an international conference towards the end of your PhD,
Right.
it is very strategic to get hold of a postdoc position abroad because you are giving your talk in front of the expert audience.
Absolutely.
Okay. So moving on, because today is the celebration of not today, it's actually 11th Feb. We are holding this 1 week in advance. So because we are celebrating the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, would you like to share how your journey has been as a woman in the field?
Okay. Yeah, should I go?
Sure.
Well, I would say my journey has been particularly very challenging. I think people's experiences differ. I did have people supporting me, but I did have a lot of challenges, and I did not have any particular mentor like who would handhold me. So I did have to figure it out myself. So I am one of these examples where like I literally had to figure it out. And I would say that I have seen a lot of positive improvement on these grounds. So I have been an active, um, uh, let's say, somebody who looks into the developments of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I have been a member of working group for gender equity in Astronomical Society of India, and I have also been a member of the IUCAA Women's Cell when I joined. I was the only woman at that time. Yeah, so this was like also, I mean, apart from the fact that theoretical physics globally has very few women. I mean, I think the numbers are one of the worst. I mean, the gender ratios, it's even less than 15% in most countries. So it has always been a matter of discussion. People have taken positive steps to improve that, but I have particularly had many experiences. For example, I have had to face sexual harassment during my PhD, and there were no women cell at that time. I mean, that concept was not there. Like, there were very few women and there was no support for them. This has changed now. Even in IUCAA, we have women cell, and most institutes do have. So even as a member of working group for gender equity, we did look out whether institutions are providing this. And we did set a sort of like guidelines for institutions. We reached out to them to let them know that these are the minimum facilities, the minimum requirements that are expected from them, so that it is an inclusive environment for women and other underrepresented groups. So I think there has been some development on this front. Um, Also, when I joined IUCAA, it was particularly funny because there was no woman professor here. I looked up on the list and I was like, okay, I did confirm, like, is there no woman in the institute? And they said, no, there has been no woman professor here. And I did get some feedback from people saying that women don't go there. I don't think you should apply there. And I still went ahead, like you said, we should never hesitate. And I did go ahead and apply. And to my surprise, I mean, I was actually ready for any kind of, I was ready for like not being welcome because I did not know if there were like, what would the environment be like. I have not had the privilege to be a student of IUCAA or a postdoc. I did not have any interaction here before coming and joining as a faculty. And when I did come here, I was surprised how supportive the environment has been. So mostly it has been very supportive for me. And I could become the first woman professor here. So I think this was very important that I could break this glass ceiling, and that now you see that we have many women professors here. And so yeah, I mean, I try to be vocal about this and try to support all the initiatives which are more mindful about their hiring process, about making visible the work done by women, because often, I mean, we do face many personal challenges, and if it is very not a very welcoming environment, if it is not inclusive, if it is discriminating, if it is not encouraging, people often, the leaky pipeline model, women do drop out as they go higher in career because of these other challenges. So I think it's very important that we make steps to counterbalance this gender gap.
A very inspiring answer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that way I mean, starting from IUCAA, I've been really lucky because when I joined here, there was already the two of them whom I also happen to know pretty well from before. So I felt very supported from the beginning. And in my case, I would say, I was lucky to have a good PhD supervisor and the postdoc mentors in general. I mean, they were very supportive. And so I cannot, I will not claim that I really had some setback because of my gender. The only thing I would like to highlight is that, I went through for the last 2 years. I first went through pregnancy and then maternity, and now I have a very small child. But I would say that I have what my experience, because my child was born there from the Max Planck, has also been very supportive. Because I remember when I asked for maternity, or I had some complications also during pregnancy, so I had to take a very long leave. And they were really very supportive, and all the roles, because I was in leadership roles at that time there. And so none of the roles were actually taken away from me. So, that was really
Reassuring.
very reassuring and very inspiring. So, and I could also come back when I want to. And in IUCAA, during the hiring process, I made the relevant people aware of my situation at this moment. And I think IUCAA has also been extremely supportive in this regard. So, because I also took a lot of time to join here after my offer was made because of my personal reasons. And also the settling process here has been very long for also personal reasons. So I would say, for me, this is an inspiration that I think if you, again, coming back vocal about what you need and what your situation is and be very upfront about it, there would be supportive people who would come forward and help you. I think so. We should not shy away from revealing our situation, various personal or professional, yes, to be able to equalize.
I'm very, very happy to hear your first story, because I've heard from a senior professor in India who was denied a postdoctoral position at Max Planck at some point because she had a child.
Okay.
So things definitely have
absolutely
evolved for the better.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I also, I would say lucky. I mean, I don't think we should be saying lucky. It should be normal that we have had.
Good point.
Yeah, I should not be saying that I'm lucky to have not been affected by. So I have not been. I don't think because my gender has affected majorly my career. I have my both my all my both my PhD as well as my postdoc supervisors have been very supportive. Um, but when I was in when I was in India, it's almost something I didn't even realize that there were no women around. I think, as you said, when you do physics already, I guess you're sort of, yeah, at some point you become used to you being the only woman in the room at points, and not there not being women around. So during my PhD, again, there was no women faculty at IUCAA. I did my PhD at IUCAA. Maybe I sort of just accepted that, okay, I just it's a man's field because you're just surrounded by them. But when I went for my postdoc, I was at ESO first, and it was initial few days. I used to see like equal number of men and women around in the office, and that's when I realized, oh, this is normal. And what I was experiencing was more of an extreme situation. But now I'm happy that IUCAA is moving more towards a normal representation of the population, both at all levels, both at the faculty level and as well as at the postdoc and student level. I see more and more a female diversity. And yeah, I think representation is also very important. I mean, it's good to have like students, postdocs who are females, but like female faculty, like having representation at the higher level where you have the power, I think is very important. Where, like how Debarati said, it's not like the atmosphere. IUCAA is very supportive, but sometimes when you have like some committee full of men, they may not be discriminating, but they may not just be aware of some issues that affect women. They may not even think of a certain issue from certain perspective. Which, if had there been a woman in that committee, she may have brought up that to their notice, and then they would have taken, I mean, maybe changed or thought about some issue differently.
This was also very challenging for me. Imagine when I joined as a young faculty,
Mm.
the only woman in the room, and there were like, these very famous IUCAA scientists who were in the panel, but I did not shy away and I spoke up, and I think this is like the way to go.
Absolutely.
I think, we have sort of an added responsibility that we need to, not responsibility, I guess, but like we just need to like make sure that the men are also aware of all the issues and make the decisions accordingly, taking into account everything.
I mean, another point, as you both pointed out, is also female mentors, right? Because whom you can identify with. It's very important to identify with a female mentor, and you might not be able to do that always with men because of various circumstances women go through in whatever ways, right? At work, as you said, or family. So I think at least now, I hope we can build on this trend that there are people who can come with us with problems or advices, or at least like look up to the path that we have been. Yeah, I would just add that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it, even if it doesn't, unconsciously it may have an effect if you don't see any female, like suppose you want to pursue a career in astronomy and there are no females around you who are pursuing that, then you may unconsciously start to question whether this is even feasible.
Yes.
Whereas if you see a woman having a career and leading a life in that field, then you say, okay, this is normal, this is a possibility. I'm not doing something that is not never been achieved or something. So I think that does unconsciously even may play a role.
I think that way Debarati is doing a wonderful job of science popularization because when you see a female professor doing science popularization, that also makes a very big difference.
Big impact, right?
Big impact, yeah. So that's great.
I remember the moment some years ago, just after I joined here, a little girl came to me and said, I want to be like you during this National Science Day. I think these are little moments which, that we strive for.
So we have a question from Rutuja. Would you like to take the questions at the end of the conversation, or would you like to?
Maybe now. Maybe she has a related point.
Yes. So Rutuja asks, does diversity in research teams lead to better outcomes? Could you share an example from, say, these mega science collaborations where diverse perspectives drove a breakthrough?
So I think in general, always having like it is. I mean, diversity in everything, like age, gender, like it always leads to more creative and
exchange of ideas.
Ideas, right? If people think like approach a problem maybe differently, so I think that always helps. I can't think of a specific thing like where like female being a female in a male-dominated group has led to any scientifically. I mean, in my experience, I'm talking about my experience. But in my second postdoc, I was in a group which had, so it was actually dominated by women because there were four of us women postdocs, and we were in number compared to the males in our group. And I remember it used to be a very engaging, productive discussion session. Like we used to have a group discussion every week, right? I don't know whether, like, I don't want to say that. I think going towards a more like equal and like representative, diverse group is always. I don't want to say whether like leaning more towards this or that, but it always helps start scientific discussion and interaction, I feel.
So what I think is actually when somebody is there already, they have the chance to inspire other people to join the field. Like if they did not have the role model, they might have hesitated to join the field. And who knows, that person has the potential to change the entire scenario, right? So it's always important to have diversity to make sure that you are influencing other potential people who might really want to contribute to the field. Right.
Yeah, this is where diversity and inclusion comes into the picture because, like she said, like the more the varied the spectrum, the more ideas and the more solutions to a problem.
You want to lose out on people who might want to come, but may fear because there have been no example before.
Absolutely.
Right. Great answers, and it's very nice to hear that things are changing for the better. Here, would you like to suggest a few practical tips, for example, for young scientists to ensure there is a good gender equity at their own institutes? Like, what day-to-day steps can, irrespective of gender, male or female, what steps one may take to ensure that we have a collaborative, inclusive environment, like at grassroots levels?
I just wanted to say that, students, yes, but to have more people of various, like to have diversity, the hiring committees, I think, plays the most crucial role, I would say.
Yes.
For example, I know in institutes, in every hiring level, at least in Europe, that was the case. There was an equal opportunity officer that had to be present in all hirings, all interviews. And that equal opportunity officer moderates and just doesn't participate, but just like moderates from a third person point of view. Was during the question, was there any bias towards any candidate because of whatever, the gender or any other circumstance, some disability or whatever. And I
Person is from the institute or
from
outside?
the institute. So there is an equal opportunity officer at every institute, and that person foresees this. And because of the gender inequality, the equal opportunity officer has to be a female.
Okay.
That's how it's there, actually. And then at the end, she also provides her inputs, and oversees at least the number of interviewers had some kind of balanced ratio. So I think the hiring process needs to be really aware when we are seeing an application, because sometimes there are unconscious bias. And I think this is not we are very aware of. We're not very aware of these unconscious bias. So I think we should train ourselves more on this aspect.
I agree. So recently, I also participated in a survey, which was like eye-opening because it asked me various questions of when I am hiring, what like depending on age and background, experience, and gender, like what would be my choices in certain situation. And it was like I really had to think hard to make sure that I don't have this unconscious bias. So this was very interesting. I thought. And I agree. So also so even when I was in France, there was in CNRS, there is the IN2P3 group, which is for nuclear and particle physics. And because of the very low fraction of women, they also send women investigators to every institute to find out the inner story, like to interact with the women and find out if they have faced any kind of racism, sexism, or any kind of bias or discrimination during their work. So this is important. They did file reports and so on. Even on the Indian side, like the Astronomical Society of India Working Group for Gender Equity, there was a meeting and a Hyderabad chapter that was laid down, and this has set of guidelines for institution leaders. Like usually we send these to directors to make sure that they do have a guideline when they are hiring or when they are
at all levels,
at a level, so that often we do not get a positive response, but we still want to make ourselves heard. And I think this is important to bring about changes.
I think if we just pursue this, it will be taken into notice, right? And if we bring our experiences from diverse environments and provide these suggestions, it might not be immediate, but change will happen.
Change will happen. Yeah.
I think this training, like even I have gone through this training while I was on for outside of India, not in India, some hiring committee. And before, I was like, Maggie was mandated that whoever is in the hiring committee, I went through this unconscious bias training, couple of trainings, which some people might find this irritating, but I actually found it's actually useful because you think, as you said, it may be simple, but it's not. It turns out like when you look a bit.
If you answer the questions, you really have to think.
Inspection now. So I think it would be good to introduce those things in India.
So
and try to make it a bit more widespread. And maybe a bit more transparent and streamline the process of hiring. Sometimes you just don't know why you have applied to a place and you don't know what is happening.
You don't hear back anything.
Yeah, you don't hear back, and
so you don't never hear back at all, right? That also happens.
Okay, so I also have a lot of follow-up questions here, but we move on because we could talk forever. Yes, exactly. So this is a very important and interesting topic to discuss, but there are also other areas of your lives that I would like to cover in this interview. So we move ahead. So you are also group leaders and collaborators and mentors to early career researchers, right? So how would you describe your leadership styles? Have there been challenges along the way? And what advice would you have to other young scientists who might want to eventually lead in science?
I'm actually I think I'm the junior most here and I'm just starting out. So actually would be interested to hear your points, both of yours actually.
Okay, yeah, I can also say something. So my style is more like transformative. So I kind of, I mean, of course, also we are privileged in IUCAA. We go through a very rigorous process of selection of students. So we typically get very good students. But also, once they join my group, I am not somebody who would just let them be. And, I personally try to follow up on each one of them and see what are their potentials. I see potential in all of them. And also, I look at what are their weaknesses and their strengths. And funnily, each one was different. Like I have gone all the way, like I literally had to think about how to mentor this person so they would overcome their weaknesses. And in certain cases, I would even have to like psychologically counsel them because they would not have the enough confidence to do something. So, and when they finally complete their, they finish their PhDs and shine in their careers, it's such a proud moment because, yeah, when I see them attaining their full potential. So I think, I mean, I would say that for me, I mean, I am not somebody who should give advice. I mean, I'm also just like, learning the hard way. I have probably a little more experience than both of you, but I would say that I don't think there is one formula that works. Even I would say mostly my style is transformational, but I did try everything. Sometimes scolding them, sometimes being lenient to them. Sometimes, we even did things like, oh, every time they published a paper, we would go out on drinks. And we did see the number of publications going up. We would go hiking together. Some of them don't like to interact. So for them, it would be different. So each one is different. And I think I don't have a rigid set of rules and I try to adapt with people that I work with.
I agree with Debarati. I mean, so for the students I've mentored at various level, I think I don't have a rigid set of rules. I first try to build an understanding that person and try to see what's his or her style. Like some people do not like you to breathe on their neck, if you know what
Yes,
I mean.
yeah.
Like very often, some people need a lot of guidance and need to be pushed. And I have a student who told me, like, please, like, check with me every day, otherwise I get demotivated. So I mean, there are all kinds, and I know some people like to be left alone, and they can come up with very like cool things. At their own pace. Up to now, I don't have a huge experience, but up to now, my style has been to try to probe each individual, its personality, and try to be compatible with that, and so push what they need and push their strengths, as you said.
So you also have to be a psychologist in a collaborator, like in the group leader situation, right?
Yeah, thanks. I've learned things from you today actually.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, I am just starting out. But yeah, whenever I work with like junior, I would say junior to me academically, uh, my approach so far has been to like a collaborative approach. I don't think I've treated it that differently. But I have not supervised a thesis. So I think that is even more like it's a more responsibility. So I still need to learn, but so far it's been like I would collaborate and talk, discuss, and interact with them as I would to any other collaborator so far. But I realize that, as you said, each person may have different needs, and we need to, as a mentor, I guess, try to identify what each person needs
and tune into them, like I said, like have more activities outside work so that they will become more comfortable with you to also share their weaknesses. Or sometimes if you're very intimidating, right, it doesn't help basically.
What I also found funny that I completed 5 years already. I mean, in 5 years, I think I've like encountered 5 generations of students, literally. So when I joined, it was students.
Not, I guess.
Or what are so three of them completed their PhD
in 5 years. Wow.
Or more, I think.
And that's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. And also, each one was different, and also the times were different.
Yeah.
When I joined the first batch, it was full COVID, as you know, like pandemic. we were not even allowed to talk to each other. So luckily we were on the same campus. We could still interact online, of course, and also at a distance. So they would not be motivated. And we actually like worked so hard during COVID. We were the most productive during pandemic. And then when the other batches started to come in, I realized these are these COVID batches where they don't interact with others. So it was very hard to get them to talk and give talks and reach out. And now again, we have a very different Gen Z population who come with a very different mindset. So I also have to adapt, with the times. I mean, I'm not usually who makes so much of an effort, but I try to go with the flow. And, but I realize that we do have to adapt to the changing times. You cannot do
So
what
have
we're
you seen a
doing.
clear change in
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, even in the attitude of students and everything, I think between my first student and the newest one, there's a very big attitude difference.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Learn.
So now coming to the most coveted question of work-life balance.
Okay.
How would you say have you balanced your ambitions, leadership, science and research, right, with your personal life and passions outside of work? Of course, it also comes with a lot of stress and multiple responsibilities at the same time. So would you have practical tips for the rest of us?
So, yeah, so should I? Yeah, I mean, I'm not married or I don't have kids. Again, I'm that counter example. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of
I
hobbies.
have to say that it's always good to have a whole
Spectrum.
range of people because you have no idea who you inspire, right?
Right.
Somebody is there who relates to your particular journey,
Right.
which is why it's very important to have
All examples.
Absolutely.
exactly.
And life does not necessarily mean like a family of kids and husband, right? You also
True.
partner,
And
right?
aspects
Like
of life.
passions and hobbies.
So I also want to put that forward. Like there are also women like me. I mean, I'm very happy with my single life, and I have like lots of hobbies, and I am happy that I can give time to them because I don't have these other responsibilities. And somehow both of them, my career and my interests grew together because we have only one life. I didn't want to compromise on one. So, I mean, and they have also personally helped me. Like, for example, I was doing a lot of like adventure sports. I have gone through, I was telling you, like, I have had to tackle like sexual harassment, a lot of things. There was a phase when I was depressed. And to overcome that, I literally had to transform my personality and become outgoing. And at that point, I started to do a lot of adventure sports, literally adrenaline sports. And this really helped me. I changed my personality. I started doing combat sports like kickboxing, Muay Thai, and Savat, and rock climbing, mountaineering. So it made me much more bolder. I could travel alone. I started doing more and more collaborations, and I was not hesitant to even stay out late. I mean, it changed my research as well because I became more and more independent because I was not, like, oh, I will only stay till working hours. I was becoming more bold. So both of them, I think, transformed in two different ways. It did reflect also in my research because I became independent. And now it is again another challenge that as you become more and more senior, you have like so many PhD students, so many theses to correct, so many collaborations. And telecons, in big collaborations, we have 24-hour telecons across the timelines. It's very difficult to balance your work and life together. So I do strive to do that. I mean, I just still try to keep a balance, but I think one of the challenges is to keep it up as you get older.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, they're very interesting because that's like a whole lot of physical activities involved, right? So it's very nice to have the balance between your mental work and the physical work.
Right.
Otherwise,
if you also because I have theoretical work, I'm stuck to my computer.
Yes.
So as soon as I shut my computer, I need to go out and
very important to do physical activity or sport so that your mental health remains
same.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's very inspiring, actually.
you managed to do a lot of things. I mean, I was hesitating a bit to answer because I was thinking what to say because I am honestly struggling with work-life balance at this moment of my life. I mean, I also have a lot of hobbies. I mean, so I'm very deep into music. So I'm a trained Hindustani classical vocalist for the last 25 years. And before my children life. I mean, life with children. I was very active. I was teaching music. I gave performances. So I think that also kept me grounded because it. I really love it. So, almost at equal level, like I like to do research, and that also like gave me a lot of fresh perspective. Because if you're happy, your mental health is good. I think you can strive. Currently, of course, there's a new equation like challenging. Very challenging to me because now I'm trying to balance motherhood and shifting to a new job. So I moved countries when she was 11 months old, and so right now I would say that I'm still like experimenting with work-life balance, but I think so far I have managed okay. I mean, I have a supportive family, of course. I mean, I have a very supportive partner in my case, so I think that for me at least that also played a very important role. Yeah. So I think you have to seek support from environment in whichever from some family member or your colleagues to be able to also maintain this.
Yeah, very inspiring.
Yeah, it's been a journey towards work-life balance, I would say. Uh, and I don't think it's ever been like I have achieved balance. I would say it's always been like periods in my life where work has been more. I gave more priority to work, and periods in my life where I gave more priority to life, like personal life. Um, I have been married for more than 12 years now, and I think around 10 of them have been long distance.
Yeah.
So it's challenging. So that had its own challenges, and my husband is also an astronomer, so we had a two-body problem.
Yes.
Which has its own challenges, but so I mean, I can go on about it, but for practical tips to maintain work-life balance, I would say, I mean, I know that science and like astronomy is a passion. We do it; it's a passion. But I think, personally, for me, I've decided on some like I have to treat it also as a job. Okay, so I treat it as a job also. Like I will work within certain hours. Weekends, if there is no deadline or anything, I will not. I need to also. So I will not
Recharge.
I will not. Maybe I mean yes. I recharge. I mean it's as you have other commitments in life which you need to give time to. So weekends I keep for that. I generally am not available over weekends for emails or any other meetings. So I do try to take my vacations seriously. I think it's important to uh, take your mind off periodically, regularly. So yeah, I think those I would.
But may I ask here if this has been the case after you had the faculty position, or
it has been, as I said, an ongoing. I have arrived at this point after being in
a lot of
My month of January has been what weekend, what vacation. There are phases like this way.
Yeah. So as I said, I'm trying to reset the steps that I'm. This was like during my PhD, I have worked. I don't want to say it. I mean, I don't want people to like take this as we should also work over weekends and all. But I have spent.
I mean, sometimes we have deadlines that you have to do.
Sometimes we have to. Yeah.
I don't think I had any work-life balance during PhD. Sometimes even during postdoc. It's only towards with experience towards later towards my postdoc and now as a faculty is that I have put into place certain
boundaries.
Yeah.
Are important.
I think just one little thing to add to you. I completely agree with you because I mean, I think we have this notion, at least I had this notion as a PhD or postdoc, that the total number of hours you're working or sitting in the office is reflective of your academic output.
Yes.
And it's not so.
Yep.
So I think we should agree with that.
Breaks are more productive.
Exactly. If you have a fixed working hour and then you're working with 100% concentration, there's nothing wrong with working less, but being more productive.
Yeah.
I just want to say something here that I think we also again have been lucky in certain places, like especially in Europe. It is even like work contacting work colleagues for work on weekends is illegal. So I think that's very good because I think in Europe it is really encouraged to have a work-life balance. It is not often so although in some of the collaborations I work with, we do talk about work-life balance, but the kind of the short-term deadlines they put you into, or everything is urgent and response expected on the weekend. This is very difficult difficult to balance. And on top of that, in India, I have faced particularly a big challenge after coming back, in the sense there is no concept of weekend or vacation. You in summer you have summer vacationing, summer projects. In winter you have winter projects. You have teaching round the clock. You have something or the other assessment and some administrative stuff. Weekends you are supposed to attend Zoom meetings, and if I would protest, then people would say, but this is very normal. I mean, so this is also something we should stand up to if we want to bring about a change. I have been consistently protesting, so I think we do, just for particularly for women who have to also balance their personal lives and all that.
Absolutely.
For mental health.
There are also conferences on the weekends. I've just learned. I mean, it was a shock to me, but that's how it is.
Okay, so we have about 4 questions from the audience, but may I have one last quick answer from all of you?
Sure.
So what would you say has been your proudest moment as a scientist? And is there any future project that you're very excited about that you would like to share with us?
Nothing quick comes to mind.
Okay.
One moment.
I can go. I mean, scientifically speaking, I think last year has been particularly. I mean, after years of work, I think I have seen some recognition in the firm. Like my name came up on the Stanford list of 2% scientists in my field. I also was awarded the honorary professor position. Yeah, full professor at IUCAA, and also honorary professorship at Indian Center for Space Physics. Always like you get some recognition for your work. That's already something. Also outreach wise, I was named in the Nature magazine. Did an article about it as change maker in science. I think personally, since I do outreach, usually we don't expect recognition for this, but it's nice to have some. It also motivates others who are doing this. So I think this is very important. I would say there are small moments which motivate me even more. Like, for example, I do rural outreach near the India project site. And I remember this moment when I went to a village school. There are children of daily wage laborers who came on a weekend, on a Sunday, not a school day, to see me, a woman, a LIGO scientist woman who has come. And they didn't even blink during, when I was presenting the science. And at the end, I remember asking them, so how many of you want to be scientists? And so many of them raised their hand. I mean, it brings tears to my eyes, like when you see moments like this, when you are actually I think science is, of course, also very motivating, but outreach also, because when you are giving the same thing, you're passing this on to the next generations. These can be very, very, I think proud moments for me as well. I think more than your, some fellowships and awards, I think these personal moments also, they gratify me much more. And also future, I don't think I have anything to say. I mean, maybe professionally, of course, I think I want to work better, strive better, and get some recognition for the work. But I think otherwise, personally also, I think I have work-life balance has been going down because of too many deadlines. There are 24 hours in a day. But I want to explore again more my artistic side. I am a dancer. I am an artist also. So I would try this is my ambition for the coming year, that I do explore more art projects. Yeah, I think that's
very nice.
Yeah. I mean, for me also, I mean, what comes to my mind immediately is that the paper of my first PhD student was just accepted last week. I think I was very happy because
that is
he
a
worked hard
milestone.
for it, for 2 years. It's a big comprehensive paper. So I was very happy. I mean, achievements, I don't know. I would say that also professionally for me, I think I joined Max Planck as a very young postdoc, and now I'm the chair of the Compact Operator Working Group of the IUCAA Consortium. So I really saw all the levels from a very junior postdoc to at the top of that collaboration of that institute. So I think that I feel good about it, to be able to make that journey and understand what went into it, and to be able to provide advice to somebody who was who was a bit introvert and not able to speak up at many moments. So the transformation has been very nice for me, I think. So I'm very happy about it. In the future, I'm very excited to settle more into IUCAA because it's been just 6 months, and to get very good students and just put the science forward. I also have some plans to do extra instrumentation, set up a lab. So let's see how that goes. Yeah, that's my plan for next year.
Cool. As I said, no, nothing particular moment comes to mind, but the obvious ones like my first author paper during my PhD, um, my actually my more recent papers, because there obviously doing a PhD, you have your mentor. Even when you're doing a postdoc, you're more independent, but you're still, I would say, have a mentor, right? But my more recent papers, I feel I feel proud of them because I have come up with the ideas and implemented them. And so yeah, and I guess little moments like if I receive comments from a paper from someone in the field, a collaborator who I respect a lot, and they give comments which like positive comments, and they really say something. Once in a while you get comments like people who are very happy with the work that you have done.
You mean compliments?
Yes. So those really I remember those small emails and I saved those. And for the future, I guess looking forward to working with newer data, newer telescopes and instruments, both abroad and India. Now, India hopefully will have newer instruments and telescopes. I'm an observational astronomer, so that's why I'm excited about.
Oh wow, we have a
observational-
theory experiment as
Yeah.
well. Wow.
Covered all bases.
Exactly.
Yes.
So yeah, so looking forward to working with all this new upcoming telescopes, instruments, and I guys also teaching like both PhD and MSc. So not just I guess training the next generation of astronomers, hopefully who will be utilizing these telescopes and instruments. So hopefully I'll get to play a small part in that, making the future generation of observational astronomers ready. So excited.
For the next big mega projects.
Yeah.
That will be great.
Very exciting answers. So, essentially, we come to the end of the interview, but we have a few quick questions that we will take in the chronological order.
Okay.
So Sarang has asked, do you think something must change in school education itself so that more girls take up roles in STEM, not only, or is it just family support that makes this possible?
Very good point. I think school definitely plays a role. I mean, I have had very discouraging comments sometimes from some teachers, and I think such little things discourage, like I remember my physics teacher, I missed some classes early in school, and when I was trying to catch up, then she just said, I think you should quit physics. I mean,
School level.
yes, so that's what I'm saying. So these kind of comments, I think at school level, one should be very mindful as not to discourage or have discrimination also between girls and boys. So as it is as important as being at home, because we spend a lot of time in school. I think very valid.
Yeah, I think both the environment in school and the environment at home, both are very important. I don't know what is the curriculum nowadays in India for science at like younger level, but if I remember, it was more like textbook based when I was growing up. So it would be I don't know whether that has changed now, but to have like exposure and
It is
awareness.
changing. Yeah, I think it is becoming more practical.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like
Intuitive,
like
questioning.
yeah. So if that is happening, then I think that's a good change.
Luckily nowadays there's also a lot of media.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Even
right.
I was very inspired
Yeah.
by like Nat Geo and
Yeah.
Discovery Channel. I would
Yeah.
say like also
Yeah.
there's much more right
Yeah.
now for kids,
Yeah, that
like
might be
resources
true.
for children. So I think that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's on the school and also the guardian to make them aware of the correct resources. That's
The next question is from Hitanshi. Being women, has any one of you ever struggled when stepping up into an authoritative role? If yes, how have you overcome that?
Yes, I feel I'm still struggling. I,
I would say it is always a struggle. It is, yeah. I mean, there's something you should accept and work towards. So I think, I mean, I have definitely had to go through this, often being like the first one to be breaking the glass ceilings. And of course, I mean, there are male and female people who have supported me and also not supported me, both genders. I think it's very important to speak up for yourself. Very important.
Right.
So injustice happens, discrimination happens. It's very important that we make it heard where it matters, that we suggest steps to change this and make it more inclusive. But I say, yeah, I think one should step up and speak up for themselves. This is very important.
Thank you. Yes. So I will combine two questions from Mohana, Priya, and Abhi because they are both related to opportunities to enter into research or similar to conference workshop course available in India or other space. So basically, this is a science opportunity related question. So would you have advice for them?
So to enter into
Yes.
the PhD at the PhD level.
Yes.
Into astronomy.
Yes. So if they are more interested to enter in astronomy and astrophysics, what steps could they be taking? They are probably in their undergraduate.
I would say basic physics is always very important. Astronomy, it's like to have a strong foundation in basic physics, mathematics.
And at the national level.
So also we are three different examples. She's an engineer. She did her PhD in astrophysics. I did my studies in physics. I have never even had a course in astrophysics. And it was funny because I did not know a lot of nomenclature. I just knew the physics behind it, you know, so definitely that. I just want to say that astrophysics right now is a very wide horizon. Okay, so it's growing even more. So I think there is experiments on one hand, there is instrumentation, there is these mega science projects, telescopes which are coming up, multi-wavelength telescope on one hand, and then there is also gravitational wave astronomy that is growing. Gravitational wave astronomy itself is extremely multidisciplinary. Like you could have any background, being an engineer, whether you're a theoretical physicist who's testing general relativity and modified theories of gravity, you could be an engineer working on optics, suspensions, and mechanics. You are still contributing to gravitational wave science. You could be in data science, you could be in computation, working on AI, ML. You could actually contribute to astronomy from all of these backgrounds. So right now, I think the field is very vast and the opportunities are exponentially growing, which is great. But funding opportunities are not often, like also positions are limited. But I think when one is motivated enough, if you have a background, doesn't matter in which field, but you can enter astronomy at different levels.
I mean, there are these national level tests like JESPS and JAM, and for IUCAA we have the INAT, for example. So even from a diverse background, I think you can qualify to these tests. So I think, I mean, that's one gateway to get in. But as both of them emphasized, I think there's an opportunity for every kind of expertise. I think, and now it's
I didn't even talk about astrobiology, and there are so many other
astrochemistry and
astrobiology.
And in general, this is the next generation of, I think, mega data. I mean, mega projects, big data, and multi-messengers.
Multi-messenger. So that's another thing. Multi-messenger means you would literally require all kinds of experience.
So lots of opportunities.
Yes. So we are actually doing excellent with time 1:10. Would you like to take a couple of more questions or would you?
Yeah, it's up to you. You're the moderator.
So the thing is, somehow the chat does not seem to be reflecting what I see on the screen. So if anyone has a question, would you please raise your hand and unmute yourself? Maybe you speak up the question directly.
Thank you for your questions. Those ones who sent questions.
Because there seems to be some lag in the chat box. I don't seem to have the recent.
Do you have any hand raised or?
So there are actually 9 chat questions.
Okay.
So we have covered this. Yes. Hitanshi, maybe jump to latest. So we have covered this. Yes.
I think that's it.
Okay. Maybe there is a question from Ankita Paul.
how to get into IUCAA as a PhD candidate. Yeah, I think you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Yes, that's covered up.
It's available. Information is available on IUCAA's website.
Yes.
We intake students through both the JEST exam as well as the INAT exam. I think JEST exam may be coming up in a couple of months.
Right.
And INAT is usually held every year in January. Just followed. If you are qualify in those examinations, we call you for interviews. And if you want to, like, the preparation, as I said, is basic physics. So whatever the basic physics you have covered in your masters, or even suppose like if you want to come from a engineering thing, so then I think the focus should be on basic physics.
You should be up to date
Yeah.
with basic physics and the concepts, I think.
Yeah.
If you're good at that, you will be able to, like she said, like if you're good at learning, you'll be able to apply your skills to other fields. You know, like you were in theoretical physics and now you're in astrophysics.
Right.
I mean, if you're good at what research is basically learning new things, right? So
Basic fundamental
Yeah.
physics
Yeah.
knowledge is good enough.
Thank you for the excellent questions and the excellent answers. We have, so this conversation can essentially keep on going indefinitely, right?
Right.
But let's close the interview, the very interesting conversation. Would you like to take one last question with what advice would you like to give to your younger self?
Oh,
Yes. I think younger self, I watched a movie that there was a girl who wanted to be a fashion designer, and then somehow she wakes up and she realizes she is a fashion designer. And I mean, I realized at that point watching the movie that, oh, I actually became what I dreamed of becoming as a child. We don't actually appreciate that fact. So I would just say that in hindsight, I would tell a younger, this version of myself to hold on and not be to not like make it so hard for myself, because sometimes we go through ups and downs. Sometimes it was like, oh my god, maybe it's this field is not for me, maybe I should quit. We go through all these phases, right? Maybe I was like, okay, when I had so many mobility challenges, personal life challenges, I was like, okay, maybe I should just quit. And then every time I thought that, oh, I have come such a long way. I mean, there have been moments my mother would stand outside my college because it's getting late and she would bring me home and I could throw it all away. So I would hold on. And I think if I just want to give the same advice to also younger, students and so on, that if the moment is hard, just hold on, because, be patient, speak up, and, look for options. I know there are moments when it becomes very challenging, but I would say I think that is the thing, you need to hold on.
No, I completely agree with you. I think I was also going to say that be patient, hang on there.
Hang on there.
Yeah. And in the low days, at least hang on there, and then opportunities will come if you perceive and if you're persistent.
So one thing that I've been thinking about lately, I mean, I agree with both of you all, and also I don't know whether I would advise to a younger self. I don't know whether I'm anyone to advise any younger people, but I'm starting to think it's very important to have your own definition of what a scientist is, your own definition of what successful scientist is, what a successful person is actually.
Definitely.
I think I'm beginning to realize as I grow older that maybe I felt the field, I had some preconceived notion of what a good or an excellent scientist is, what a pursuit of excellence is.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get lost in ideals set by other people. And especially in a male-dominated field, the concepts of idea is also set by it may not be a very representative and diverse set of people, right? So I think it's very important to set your own definition of what a successful scientist is, an overall successful person. It may not be the standard one and it may not be the same as someone next to you, but I think it's very hard for yourself to define what you want to achieve, what your level of success, what your idea of success is, and then work towards it, not other people's ideas.
Very well said.
Yeah. Thank you. So personally, of course, I have had the privilege of having the three of you as mentors at the institute. Every single conversation that we had individually also has been extremely inspiring, motivating, like every single conversation. So I hope we got the magic that the three of you share across the screen as well to all of the audience. Thank you so much for being here, for all of the wonderful conversation that we had.
Thank you as
Thanks
well
to you.
for moderating, and
Yeah.
thanks to IAU for
Yeah.
this opportunity. We don't get a chance to chat like this, and I think we also enjoy it very much.
It was a really nice conversation.
Yeah, true.
For a long time, actually.
True. Thanks to the audience and also for the questions. I wish everybody all the best, because you as well, you are motivating a lot of young people being in your role and in research and also in IAU. And I think this is the way to go. I think we are at different career and life stages, and we can just support each other better. So
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you. We end the conversation here. Thank you all. Bye bye.